Okay, so let's continue our discussion on discipleship. So we started last week thinking about um, what it means to be a disciple, what is discipleship, and we started off, we're kind of going through Matthew 28 as we're thinking about this and thinking about um, the calling to be a disciple, the calling to go and make disciples. So, first we talked about from verse 16 obedience. So, Jesus had told them to go to a certain place, and the disciples went there. They were obedient to what Jesus called them to do. So, second thing, then, as we're thinking about discipleship, is worship. And we often maybe wouldn't put those two together. We might not think about worship being kind of an attribute of discipleship or helping us define discipleship, but I think it certainly is. Worship is an acknowledgement of who God is, a recognition of His holiness, of His authority. And so what happens in, going back to Matthew 28, they go to the mountain that Jesus had told them to go to, and when they see him, they say hello. They're very casual. They don't know what do they do? They worship him. This is not a small thing. Remember, at this point, they have seen the risen Jesus. So this is not the first encounter they've had with him since the resurrection. And so by now they've had time to process what it is that is going on, what has happened to him, that they saw him very much dead. And now they recognize him very much alive. And while I think there's still this process that's going on, we know that when they have the Spirit, when the Spirit comes, it changes them. It allows them to see those things that Jesus was talking about, to understand kind of the bigger picture of what was going on, to go back and reflect on those things that he had said throughout his ministry, and now kind of understand them in their context. But their reaction to seeing Jesus as they've come to this place where he is to worship him. This is a life-changing event for them. Their growth as disciples has gone from this willingness to follow when Jesus called them, this willingness to go where he was going and to witness the things that he was doing, and to give up many things in their life to be a part of his life, has gotten to the point where they recognize that he is deserving of worship, that he deserves that. And I don't think that we can be a faithful disciple of Jesus and fail to worship him as who he is, as the resurrected Son of God, as the only Son of God, as, one person in the Trinity of God, as God. If we try to look at Jesus as something else, try to understand him as something else, we're not going to be successful in that. It's just not going to work. It's just not adequate to kind of maybe follow some of Jesus' teachings. In fact, it's not enough. It's not enough to view him as a good teacher or some type of good moral leader. Jesus is the creator God of the universe who created all that there is. By him and through him, everything that was made was made. This is an important element of discipleship. So as we are growing in discipleship, as we are trying to be disciples of Christ, part of that is that we are worshiping him. And if we're trying to make disciples of other people, we're not only teaching them and encouraging them to follow Jesus, we do that, but not only that, we are worshiping him, and we are teaching others to worship him as well. If we're not doing that, um, we're not really embracing what it means to be a disciple, and we are not understanding what is discipleship, because part of discipleship is worshiping Jesus. Whether that's in our weekly gatherings at our churches, in our daily life, and the things that we're doing in our work, we are worshiping him. And if we're worshiping something else, we're not being his disciple. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll look again real soon at continuing to answer this question: what is discipleship? We've seen obedience, we've seen worship. Next, we're going to consider how discipleship, what it means in discipleship to submit to Christ's authority, because that's part of being a disciple. It's part of what discipleship is submission to Christ's authority. So join us next time for that. Thanks.